And I'm gonna do this as a podcast and also a YouTube channel. Post it on my for a project, and also like starting like a career, small YouTube videos. And I want to make a shots of different creative people with their ideas and new insights to put up on my shorts to for the audience and the students who are graduating.
Hi.
They just want to try something new. That's what. Okay, yeah. You just chose the topic to talk about why students choose a wrong career in their future and feel miserable or suffer in the future for the choices they made. So you can just start talking about whatever comes up to your mind. Just feel free to tell about anything. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yes, I thought that was a good topic to choose because I have myself experience of going not being involved in a career which is connected to the degree I studied for in university. So, for example,
yeah,
I didn't finish my undergraduate, my BA degree in one go,
yeah.
as it were. So I did 2 years. I didn't finish my third year, so I went back home, which is in Wales,
Oh,
and for um, for a few years because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I had some personal problems
what was the degree? Did that? If you,
in music,
yeah.
and um, and I was getting involved with sort of little things. I was doing a little bit of performance, not a lot, but I just wasn't doing anything
Yeah,
as a career related to my degree. Anyway, I came to finish my degree
yeah.
and started on this master's course. Now,
So,
in that time when I came back, I was looking at things to do to get some money, things to get involved
uh,
with. And when you're in the world of music, you will start joining certain groups, whether
yeah,
that's choirs or bands or any kind of musical ensemble where you
concert.
can meet. Yeah, of course, and
Yeah,
doing concerts. So this is a great way to network and to
yeah,
get connected with people. It
exactly.
is sometimes a bit, it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes you might do rehearsals for weeks and weeks on end. You might meet the same people and nothing happens. And occasionally you might
Mm,
meet people who do make things happen.
yeah.
And I met somebody who was a teacher for an organization
Okay.
in Kent, where we are at the moment. Um, this organization provides um, music tuition to schools in the area.
In music
And I was,
institute.
yes, music in schools. Yeah.
Okay.
So it will be, so they will do things like workshops. So it'll be big groups of people, or you could have individual lessons,
Okay.
one pupil at a time. And I thought, oh, I'm going to need my degree to do this. I'm not going to be
Yeah.
able to start until I finish my studies. But um,
Okay.
uh, but as it turns out, I was allowed to start working for them because I had the expertise.
Uh,
I had musical training, so uh, I talked to the director there, and he said, "Would you like to do this many days at this many schools?
okay.
Where can you teach, and so forth." So that
Yeah.
flexibility was a great help.
Okay. So you
So
had experience before, and also you were had a certificate course of the trumpet you're playing or instrument you're.
yeah, yes, I did. In the UK, we have grades for musicians. So there are two main organisations that will examine
Trinity College.
you on your instrument. Yeah. So
Okay.
you've got the Associated Board of the Royal School of Music, I think it's called, and you've got
Yeah.
Trinity College, Trinity something. It's been a long time since I've
Okay.
done a certificate, so I can't remember what they're called. But yes, Trinity is the other examination board.
Super. Yeah. Yeah. Go. And then yes, Stephen.
Um, so so well, going back to the question you asked
Yeah. Yeah.
about that we discussed about why are people miserable is it's not. I will say if people are feeling miserable who are watching this, I will say um, being
Mm,
miserable is a part of life. It's going to happen one day or
Exactly.
another. It's not
Exactly.
you're so when you
Mm,
are miserable, you should do two things: recognize that one, these things happen,
okay.
and two, how to deal with them.
Mm, okay.
And when I say, or rather, how to put up with it, because you're going to have to get out of it. Nobody wants to be miserable forever.
Exactly.
So,
Self-realization, you mean, right? Right.
yes. So, in my experience, if
Mm,
people are in the at the point where they're finishing their studies, they're not sure where they want to go next, they are unsure. My advice is always to network. Make
uh,
as many friends as possible, make as many connections as possible. If
exactly.
you're, some people aren't very outgoing. I would say I'm quite well spoken. I'm quite outgoing. I'm quite
What?
easy
Yeah.
to talk to.
Yeah. I can see.
Other people, yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people aren't like that. So
Yeah.
if you can't express yourself talking, express
Mm,
yourself well in writing, or maybe in the content that you do.
yeah.
There are ways to communicate which
Mm,
don't involve what we're doing now, which is talking.
yeah. Like.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
or yeah, so my advice would be to play to your strengths. Play
Mm,
to play to what you're good at. If you're a talker, then talk. If you're a writer, then write. If you want
uh,
to do content or do visual things, then do those. Um, and if you're coming towards the end of your studies, always I would say make a very strong effort to remain in contact with the people who are in the same situation that you're in.
exactly. Remain in contact with the people with whom we had before. Yes. Super.
Yeah. Um, and of course, because we're a very global
Exactly.
economy world now, so it's very easy to get in contact with anybody on the other side of the world
International
who
culture.
might
We.
be in a similar situation. Sorry, Gary, the connection was bad then. Can you say that again?
Yeah, you mean the international culture? We are all spread out globally today. We can mingle with any kind of new peoples from different cultures, languages, and ideas from many different aspects and perspectives you can have. Exactly.
Yeah.
Super.
So where I am now
Yeah.
is directly related to the people I've networked with. So
Mm,
I'm going to start. I'm going to start a PhD
mm,
later this year. I'm going to. I'm teaching in the meantime in my in music, and I'm looking for jobs in
mm.
cathedrals like Rochester
Uh,
as a singer. I've got an interview tomorrow at Rochester actually to
oh,
be one
good
of the
luck,
singers there.
Stephen.
Thank you. Um,
Good.
and but I don't know that much about the other creative industries like film or media or
Yeah, yeah.
social media,
Super.
things like
Yeah,
that. But I will say, um,
I'm
but I
focusing.
will say,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, carry on.
Sorry. I'm focusing on whichever the strengths of the people are, how they can express themselves in a productive way to make students give some new ideas. That's what. Yeah, just go on.
Yeah. So what I will say to, I think this applies to everybody and not just music,
Mm,
is that you should always try and maintain first your
mm.
contacts. Keep a portfolio of things that you've done,
Yes. Oh,
and 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 do your chosen field, whether that's sound engineering, whether that's film.
mm,
Do it for fun
fun.
in the
Exactly.
meantime.
Do it for fun.
Um, and if you have to, I don't know, get a rubbish job in an industry that's not connected
Mm.
to what you've done, that's fine. Just do that for a 1 year, maybe two. It
For a
keeps
while.
the money. It keeps the money coming in, and it at least gives. And when you're not working, when you're at home at night or when you're away at the weekends,
Yeah.
get involved with your passion, so it doesn't die away. And if it dies away, then the 3 or 4 years you've committed to university are just going to be wasted. So
Yeah, I've done
so
it.
so yeah.
I wasted my early 20s of 2 years doing things whichever doesn't suit me, mingling, networking with wrong people I had around me. Like I've wasted like 2 to 3 years. Yeah, being miserable also teaches something to be how to not to be we were before.
Hmm.
Yeah, of course. Super.
So and I've worked in some pretty pretty rubbish jobs, like in a pub, in a restaurant, or
Oh,
I've done some musical gigs which have been okay. They've been fun, but they've not been very well paid, and I've having to travel. But there is absolutely no shame in leaving a university and maybe doing a bad job for maybe a year or two. It's going to happen. It's quite likely that it will happen because it's a very competitive industry,
industry,
and the
industry.
people who know what they're doing
Mm,
get the jobs in that industry. So use the time afterwards when you finish your studies to build up your skills, build up your portfolio,
exactly.
and build up your networking strengths if you don't have them already. If you want to learn how to
Mm.
communicate with people, the only way you can learn is by talking
Exactly. And
and getting
how do
involved.
yeah, because few people are really introverted people I met in our classes also. They're not they're a bit timid to open up themselves or they listen to people. Like how do we can get them like for can you tell something for them who's introverted people like can you tell something about for them?
Yeah, some people are naturally introverted. I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not entirely sure if this is something that you can. No, but I know this is something that
Mm.
does affect a lot of people being introverted. Um, people, most people in my experience, they're not that scary.
Mm. Mm.
And I have found if you email somebody or send somebody a message or whatever who's
Mm.
in the field that you
Mm.
want to get into, someone who's quite experienced,
Okay.
if you say, can I have, can we have a chat about some ideas I have,
Uh,
some things I want to work on,
ex-
most of the time they will be happy to do it.
uh,
The reason is
mm.
you can play to their ego.
Oh,
So
that's a good
if you're Yeah, so you've got to remember, if you might feel, not you, but anybody listening, people listening might feel that they're insecure. We've all
okay.
got our insecurities
Yeah,
in life. It just happens. So do the people who are in those jobs that you want to get into, and those who are managing those jobs who are quite successful. They have their own insecurities. So
okay.
one thing they might enjoy very much is getting an email from you. Hello, I'm John Smith, and I'm doing a master's degree in sound engineering,
Okay.
um, and I would like some advice on this project that I'm doing, or this or
Mhm.
that. They will be happy to answer that because they'll be thinking, yes, I'm very important. I'm a sage. I'm very
Uh,
wise. People want to contact me. People want to listen to me.
just making them
Um,
right. We are making them valuable.
Exactly. We're making them valuable and they're providing a service to you in terms of advice or connections.
Okay. Okay.
So never be scared to writing an email doesn't cost you anything. It'll
Exactly.
cost you a few minutes of your time, and if you send it to the right people,
Mm.
it could be worth a lot in the long run just by that networking.
Wow, that's great, Stephen. Like playing upon the ego of the person. What can you tell that again? Like what did you say?
Yes. So, as I said, people have their own insecurities, even people who are important. So, if you're playing to their ego, they
Playing the,
want to feel important and they want to feel like they're valuable as well. Because you don't know, you might have caught them on a bad day. They might have been sat at their computer or on their phone,
mm,
having a bad day. Things aren't going well, and then suddenly they get an email popping up saying,
uh,
"Hello, I really like what you've been doing. Can you give me some advice?" And that will make them feel a lot better, and they'll be more inclined to do it. So,
ex-
um, so the people who are above us in our career, they're not invincible. You know,
mm, super, super.
they're only a few steps up the ladder.
That's amazing. Good to hear. Wow. Superb, Stephen. And what are you up to in your future, Stephen? What are you going to do in your PhD? Like, can you tell something about what are you going to explore and research?
Yes, it's not. I've not decided yet because things have been happening in my life at the moment, which have slowed everything down. But I'm going to propose my PhD thesis is going to be something like. So the methodology is going to be aesthetics.
Okay.
and I'm going to be examining the aesthetics of music produced by artificial intelligence,
Okay. Superb. Superb.
and if this and the application of this to silent films.
Mm. Silent film.
So yeah, so I've really enjoyed, and what I'm doing at my master's degree is going to be writing music for silent films. These are home movies taken from this area in Kent, from the 1920s up till the 1950s.
Okay. That's how you did your cat video for the Winter Sound project, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's similar. Yeah.
Superb. Yeah, I remember. I saw that day. Yes. We did the
Um,
performance.
and so once I've completed that, hopefully that will take about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and my final goal is to lecture in music at the academic level,
Wow.
so I can work at a university.
Oh, okay. So, are you being going to be like you want to be a teacher in the Royal School of Music or Trinity College of London? Is that like a theory based or a practical based teaching, or like how
Yeah.
is it?
Um, Mine will be mostly theory based, but I really like doing practical based
Uh, that's great.
stuff as well. Like, so in if we, let's take silent films for example.
Yeah.
Um, you might so back when silent films were popular in the first 20 years of the 20th century,
Yeah.
um, uh, the only music that you would have with the film would be someone sitting at a piano in the theater itself, right?
Oh, okay.
And they will be playing music alongside. And they'll be
Yeah.
watching the screen, and
Yes.
they'll be playing the music. So they had to improvise
Yeah.
on the piano what's going on in front of them to try and create a mood for
On the
music
spot, in spontaneously. Okay.
spontaneously. Yes.
Yeah.
So um, so if we were going to do that as a practical exercise, there'll be a lot. There's a lot of theory to do with that. I've got some books like you know you've got huge books like this one,
Okay.
um, and
Both of these.
and
Okay.
it's stuff like that that I would like to apply and
Nice.
perhaps even workshop the the art really of. It doesn't have to be the piano, it could be drums, it could be
Yeah.
guitar, whatever,
Yeah.
but writing music spontaneously for the screen
Mhm.
that's going on in
A
front of you. So
presence of.
that's the sort of thing I've been working on.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like being spontaneous, it just gives us a presence of mind to occasion. The mind arises to the occasion, right? The presence of mind is, yeah, super.
I agree.
Super. Of course, that man. That's, yeah. Wow, that's really good. And why do you want to like interested on the silent films? Why? What made you to go to towards back in the silent films? Because the young people are focusing more on the future technology, artificial intelligence, and you're going back towards 100 years back. And how did you get that idea?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, all I would say is that we call them silent films. We think they're old fashioned, but really it's just footage without any talking,
Mm,
and we see that every day.
mm,
If you go on the tube in London, if you go to Euston Station in London, for
yeah, I've
example,
been there. Yeah,
and you're in the big foyer in the middle, and you've got all the times of the trains in front of you, and on the side there you've got two screens which
yeah,
show adverts, right,
yeah.
or maybe bits of the news. You can't hear them.
Okay, just okay.
So
Image.
it yeah.
Okay.
So um, there's no, there might not be any talking, even there might be an ad for a film, right? So the medium, if we can call it that, the medium of 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 um of footage which doesn't necessarily have any sound to it, but that you can then apply sound to
Uh,
afterwards. Um,
mm,
that's an art form that's still ongoing today, and I think will go on in the future. The great thing I like about the silent film is there are so many pieces of footage um, that haven't been seen in years.
okay,
Um,
okay.
and because of that, a musician or a film composer can look at that footage, which hasn't been seen before, and then write music for it. Because what you're getting is a brand new subject. It's like someone who's written brand new lyrics or a
Mm-mm.
brand new poem,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
doesn't have any music to it, right? So the creative energy that comes from that is quite impressive.
Superb, superb. Because when I was grown up as a child, as far as I knew, the silent films are like the videos of Charlie Chaplin's in the 1930s and 40s. That's what I'm aware about. I was not an English person. I grew up in a different country.
Yeah,
So as I knew, that's what I've seen. So I used to think about, oh, there's a music behind going it, but it's not the music which was taken live. It was just shot, and that music was added behind. So that's the
yeah.
silent film I'm aware about. So it's a new experience for me to see a cat video having a music behind it. So yeah, that's what.
Mm,
Wow, that's good. Yes, exactly. So far,
mm.
amazing, Stephen. Amazing. Yeah, and can you have a final message for the students? Like, yeah, that's a short message for the students, like what you said before. Students not to feel miserable about the choices they made later in their lives,
Yes.
because
Of course. Okay. So everyone gets miserable. That's fine.
yeah,
There's no shame in that.
super.
Second of all, you've got to realize that that happens, and
Yeah.
third, you've got to work out a way of getting
Mm,
out of it. My advice to get out of any hole in life,
mm, mm,
whether that's career or money or relationships, right? Network and talk to people. Get
super.
involved. It's so tempting at the moment because everybody is connected through electronic means like the internet,
Mm,
um, and on WhatsApp or whatever. I
exactly.
always, do carry on doing that, but also show yourself in the world and get connected with your colleagues, even if you're living somewhere where I grew up, which is in Wales, which is very rural,
Okay.
um, in a small village. I
Yeah.
still kept in contact with people. I kept getting involved with the musical scene,
Oh,
and I'm sure people who are in film or sound can get involved with their own medium as
super,
well.
super.
Um, so so don't ever think things are lost. If you
Mm,
have to take a if you have to take a crap job, take it. Just
mm.
for the time being, it won't last forever.
For a while, yeah, for a while
Better things will come if you keep getting involved. That's what I
involved.
will say.
Super, super amazing, Stephen. That's a good idea. It's a new insight for the people who are listening to this. Yes, of course. It's really good to have you, Stephen. I'll really like to see you in the class next time. We'll have a chat. See ya.
Of course. See you then.
Amazing.
Take care. Enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you.